Are you ready? You said
All right, what's going on, guys? My name is Nate. I am the sales manager here at HighStrike. I've been with the company for coming up on 4 years now. And so today we are going to be going around the room, interviewing the coaches, getting to know them, and having them share a little bit about their experiences. Mr. Sage,
It's out.
you've been around for quite a while now, a couple years, right? Coming up on, I think you passed over 3 years, right?
The HighStrike.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
I have two. I've been here probably just a little bit less on here.
Yeah.
I've been around. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were obviously a member of the community before you joined as an admin, obviously many years of experience before.
I was a successful trader already. I had my own business, which all good as you hear today. But I've been trading for a long time. I've been trading since 2010. I opened up a broker. I had some money that I just accumulated, and I can trade you for a while. But I got a successful sort of level since I could say how 2016 is generally what I'm going to say. So what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what kind of sparked your interest in trading?
Yeah.
What kind of sparked your interest in trading?
All right. So my interest in trading dates back to when I was a kid. So my mom always worked for wealthy people, right? Always, and a wealthy Jewish family. So a lot of their outlook on money and just the world rubbed off on me because I was exposed to luxury at a very young age. So for me, I was like, I went home and I was not, I don't know, just talking to the people that I talked to. My mom worked for 3 or 4 families for like 35 years. And just talking to them and knowing what they did, there was one particularly who was a bond broker. So for me, the bond market's a special place in my heart. I even had a lot of conversations with him, and I used to buy a lot of books. One of the books that I read was the Tiny Red Book of Investing. It's a Jack Wolf book. We were talking about this earlier. But I read that book at an early age, so I'm like, financial advisors, I don't need those people. Right? So I just started doing that on my own. And I did at one point, and I had a massively successful trade. I made 80 grand in trade. It was a pharmaceutical stock, which I don't trade in longer. But I thought that trading was easy. Before all of this happened with crypto, all of this happened before prop trading firms or all the stuff that we see now on Instagram, on YouTube, whatever. I was in trading way before that. Right. I was learning trading from like videos of people trading with it or just people like all Twitter jokes. If you're right. I was just analyzing what they were doing. I was reading market was right. And from there, I was like, okay, this is my thing. So my heroes were never XYZ. They were never actors or athletes. So there were always people that could trade more. So that's how I got started. I got bid pretty early. So 18 years old, and I already opened my broker account. And I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure this out. I'm still trying to do that.
I know in the past you've talked about kind of your start to trading losing significant
Yeah, I get it.
amounts of capital. And so what would you say is kind of that turning point for you where you were like, I've lost enough money, time to take this more serious? Or what was kind of that mentality that you had or that mindset shift you
So
experienced?
I think it's worth to mention how much money I lost. I lost about 250, it would be 280 grand. Now I haven't like, if I actually put that to pay for it, might have been more, plus loss and commissions. I made a decision that it was either I'm going to make it or I'm going to die. So that's when I decided this is what I want to do. And I know that other people can make it work. I'm not that stupid. I'm stupid. I'm that stupid. And then I decided, okay, if other people can make it work, then, the success rate for trading isn't that high, but I was determined to make it work. Color how you want it. So that's what I started thinking about actually what I was doing rather than just put on trade. Like some people do that. I don't know if you guys are doing this, but they put on trade and then they add a cost there. But I don't do that. I try to analyze it the best possible. When I go over a trade, I flop it on for 30 minutes because I'm going to put some money on it, right? So that was my determination. It was either I'm going to die or I'm going to swing. So just putting it out in the middle of the ocean. That's how I think.
Again, if you were to sum up your trading philosophy in a couple words or one sentence, what would that be?
I think now I look at it a little bit differently. Before I used to think that 20% ROI is dead. So ROI is basically means I know the B it, but return on investment. I used to think that 20-30% a year was good enough, right? When you're small, that's not good. It's not a straight. But when you're a larger trader, 20-30%, you're basically getting out the market a year or a year a read. My philosophy in trading was basically summed up with risk reward above everything else. No matter if you're selling, buying, if you're position trading, if you're swing trading, If you cannot recognize the basic risk reward on anything that you and every financial decision that you make, you are a lower trade. That's it. There is no local barrier.
What's the difference between being a day trader and being a gambler to you?
I think technically there are some nuances there, but a gambler has another connotation to it. Just because you're a gambler doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. But I think what you're asking me or thinking about the analogy, usually when people gamble in the stock market, they generally don't know the statistics behind what they're doing, or they have an attraction, right? I think the difference between someone that does this successfully or does it is just how much they understand their own numbers. So if you don't know what that is, if I'm tossing to these guys, I say, all right, what's your own way for the last 6 weeks? Okay. What's your biggest drawdown? How much did you lose on this particular trade or for this particular period? What month did you have a better month and for what particular reason? These guys can answer. Your trader simple. So that for me is the difference. It's the data behind the trader. That's the difference between gambling and someone with success.
So follow-up question, how important is journaling?
How important is journaling? How important is air? It's important. It's important for you to know your beta. If you don't know your beta, you're flying by. You have to know. You absolutely have to know it first. I journal a little bit differently. I don't have to write every single little touchy feeling emotion that I have, right? Because I'm just not that kind of person, but I view journal very much the decisions by AA. So I gotta make sure that I'm not susceptible to slippage. You guys will have the same problem with slippage as what I did at first side. But slippage was a big thing. That's paying $3, $4, $5,000 of tuition. So now, how important is it? It is everything. It is the difference between, you having a successful trading business or not. You can imagine having a CPA and not detailing every transaction we have. That's what it's so yeah. That's my answer to you, Nate.
Piece of advice for someone just starting out.
Oh, that's a horrible piece of advice.
Probably don't trade.
Get a coach from HighStrike.
Probably get a coach. No. I am a firm believer that I believe everything is energy transfer. And I believe that things actually do get transferred by osmosis, literally being in contact with the right people. I've always found that the most important decision that you will ever make is who you marry. Because when I was losing money with my wife, I borrowed 80 grand from my wife to get out of the hole that I was in. And then she was like, you better make that money back or it's over. That literally was one of the breaking points that I had. It was 80 grand. Can you imagine 80 grand at 22 years old?
I would have not probably done it.
I'm surprised I wasn't assassinated, to be honest. I'm not even joking. That's a real story. I'll call her up right now and we'll tell the story. So for me, trading advice, most people are going to think that trading is all about making a quick buck. Trading is, I would say that trading is a profession. I look at it like a profession. So if you're into carpentry or if you're into coding, if you're into any sort of profession, any sort of vocation, trading is no different. Trading is investing. Investing is hard. Life is hard. Going to school is hard. Everything is hard in life, right? So are you going to cry and bitch about it? I don't know if I can say that here, but you're just going to cry and complain that trading is difficult because you're trading 0DT options on Robinhood? Or are you actually going to level up? Are you going to lift the heavy weight? Are you going to take the supplementation that you need in order for you to grow as a human being and grow financially? The people that have the money, there's been studies on this. The people that have the majority of the capital or the wealth in the world, if you were to give it to everyone that doesn't have that capital, in about 5 years, it will make its way back. Not because those people are more special than you, but they apply things and they have execution differently than 90% of the world. That's what trading, or my advice would be to newer traders, is to learn that discipline first. If you're not disciplined, you have no business in trading.